Good morning, dear children. This is your history teacher. Now take out your history textbook and open page number 63. Dear children, as you know that yesterday we have completed the portion of Jainism. Okay, then we have also studied about the Sangha. Okay, and so let's see more detail about the Sanghas. Okay, so in Sanghas they have asked one questions. Okay, in pink line you can see here. So they are asking that list at least two ways in which the Sangha described in this lesson was different from the one mentioned in chapter 5. Were there any similarities? As you know that in chapter 5 we have also studied about the Sangha. Okay, so in this chapter also we are going to study about the Sangha. So here they are asking that was the Sangha we are learned from chapter 5 were having any similarity. Okay, as you know that both the Mahavir and the government in Vaishali, okay, that is Buddha, okay, felt that only Bihar, those who left their homes could got true knowledge. Okay, that means both are saying that those who left their homes could got the true knowledge. Okay, and they arrange for them to stay together in a sangha. Okay, they just you can say they just did the arrangement, okay, for them to stay together in a sangha, because both the Mahavir and the government in Vaishali, okay, that means Buddha felt that those who left their homes, okay, only could get true knowledge. So what they did, they just arranged for them to stay together in a sangha. So sangha is the association those who left their homes. Okay, sangha is the association for those, okay, who left their homes. Okay, now there were many rulers, that is men and women, who in the sangha, who take part in the sangha. Okay, so obviously there are the similarities between the sangha from chapter 5, okay, and this. Okay, now let's take a look on the monasteries. So let's talk about the monasteries. To begin with, both Jaina and Buddhist monks went from place to place throughout the year. Okay, teaching people. The only time they stayed in one place was during the rainy season. Okay, so except rainy season, they just wandered here and there when it was very difficult to travel. Okay, then their supporters built temporary shelters for them in gardens. Okay, or they lived in natural caves in hilly areas. Okay, then as time went on, many supporters of the monks and nuns and they themselves felt the need for more permanent shelters, and so monasteries were built. Okay, so monasteries were built and these were known as the viharas. Okay, viharas, the earliest viharas, that means you can say the vihar, okay, were made of wood. Okay, that means in ancient time they were made from wood, and then of brick. Okay, some were even in caves that were dug out in hills, especially in western India. Okay, as you can see in this picture, a cave hollowed out in the hills. Okay, this is the cave in Kali, present day in Maharashtra. Monks and nuns lived in mediated in this kind of shelters. Okay, so they are known as the monasteries. A Buddhist text tells us, just as the waters of river lose their names, okay, just as the waters of rivers lose their names and separateness when they flow into the mighty oceans. Okay, so are varna and ranks and family forgotten when the followers of Buddha join the order of monks. Okay, so very often The land on which the vihar was built was donated by a rich merchant or a landowner. Okay, so or the king. The local people came with gifts of food, clothing, and medicines for the monks and nuns. Okay, because they are at that time also they are known as the respectful person. So the local people came with gifts of food, clothing, and medicines for the monks and nuns. So in written, okay, so in written they taught the people. Okay, in written they taught the people, they gave beautiful life messages. Now over the centuries, Buddhism spread to many parts of the subcontinent and beyond. You will learn more about this in chapter number 9. Okay, so the system of ashramas, as you know that for these people they have made the ashramas. So how this system works, the system of ashramas work. So around the time when Jainism and Buddhism were becoming popular, okay, Brahmins developed the system of ashramas. Okay, at that time, the after the Montessori's, okay, the Brahmin developed the system of ashramas. And here the word ashrama does not mean to place where people live and meditate. Okay, it is used instead of for a stage of life. Okay, four ashramas were recognized. Okay, that is brahmacharya, grihastha, then vanprastha and samnyasa. So Brahmin, Kshatriya and Vaishya men were expected to lead simple lives, okay, and studied the Vedas during the early years of their life. That is, the early years means brahmacharya, before marriage. So then they had to marry and live as householders. That is grihastha. That means they have recognized the four kinds of ashramas, that is stages of life. Okay, that is brahmacharya, grihastha, okay, vanprastha and samnyasa. So in brahmacharya, that means the life before the marriage. Okay, then grihastha means life after the marriage. Then they had to marry and live as a householders. Okay, then vanprastha, then they had to live in the forest and meditate. Okay, after marriage, they what they have to do, they had to live in the forest and meditate. Then finally they had to give up everything and become sannyasis. Okay, that means they have to left everything to become the sannyasis. So these are the four life stages. The system of ashramas allowed men to spend some part of their lives in meditation. Okay, generally women were not allowed to study the Vedas and they had to follow the ashramas chosen by their husbands. Okay, now here they are again asking one question. In what ways was the system of ashramas different from the life in the sangha? Okay, so as we studied here the life of sangha, okay, where all the men's and women's, okay, stayed there, okay, who left their home for the knowledge. And what are the varnas mentioned here, and were all four varnas allowed to participate in the system of ashramas? So dear children, the system of ashramas were the different stages of life. Okay, what is the system of ashramas? They were the different stages of life of men had to live. Then it allowed men to spend some part of their lives in meditation. Okay, then women were not allowed to read Vedas and they were bound to follow the ashramas, okay, chosen by their husbands. So sangha was an association joined by both men and women. So both are the different from each other. Okay, now next page, turn the next page. Elsewhere, find Iran in the your atlas. Zoroaster was an Iranian prophet. His teachings are contained in a book called the Avastha. The language of the Avastha and the practices described in it are very similar to those of the Vedas. Okay, the basic teachings of Zoroaster are contained in the maxim good thoughts, good words, and good deeds. Here is the verse from the Zen Avastha. So, Lord grant strength and rule of truth and good thinking, by means of which one shall create peace and tranquility. Okay, so for more than 1,000 years, Zoroastrianism was a major religion in Iran. Later, some Zoroastrians migrated from Iran and settled down in a coastal towns of Gujarat and Maharashtra, and they were the ancestor of today's Parsis. Okay, so this is one kind of history of our culture. Okay, so dear children, this is it for today's video. So today we have completed our lesson number 6. Okay, so dear children, if you have any problem regarding to this video, you can ask me. Till then, it's goodbye from my side. Thank you and have a nice day.